Welcome to today's deep dive, where we'll try to untangle the enigma that is Jiang Taigong, a figure shrouded in myth and legend,
right?
But also pivotal in Chinese history.
Absolutely.
Trying to separate fact from folklore.
Yeah, it's a bit like a historical puzzle box, isn't it?
It is.
With layers of titles and accomplishments.
Okay, so right off the bat,
yeah,
this document about Jiang Taigong, which seems like a pretty solid overview, it throws us a curveball right away.
Okay.
He's got more names and titles than a royal family tree.
Right.
Jiang Taigong, Cheng Zia, Shi Taigong, Lu Shang.
Yeah.
I mean, how are we supposed to keep up?
It can be confusing, I admit.
Yeah.
But each name offers a clue,
Okay.
a piece of the puzzle that helps us understand his journey and influence.
Okay.
Qi Taigong, for instance,
tells
us he was granted the region of Qi,
right,
essentially a large territory governed by a noble, and became its first ruler.
Got it.
Shi Shengfu, meaning teacher and respected father. Right.
Highlights the reverence he commanded, even from the Zhou rulers.
So it's not just fancy titles.
Right.
They actually reveal important details about his roles.
Exactly.
And impact.
Clever.
It's a reminder that even seemingly small details can hold significant meaning, especially when dealing with figures from ancient times.
All right, so digging into the document, we see this picture of a true Renaissance man emerging.
Yeah.
He's clearly brilliant. Astronomy, geography, governance.
Yeah.
He seemed to excel at everything he touched.
He did.
Yet the source also mentions him working seemingly ordinary jobs.
Right.
Like butchering and selling drinks.
Right.
Before rising to prominence.
That's where the legend really takes root.
Okay.
It's the classic tale of hidden potential waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
And it resonates across cultures and time periods.
Yes, it does.
It speaks to the importance of perseverance, of continuing to hone your craft even when it seems like no one is watching. And perhaps even more importantly, it speaks to the need for those in positions of power to recognize talent in unexpected places.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You're Duke Wen of Zhou, searching for a brilliant advisor to help solidify your power.
Right.
And you find him not in a palace, but fishing by a river.
Fishing by a river with a straight hook, no less.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
According to the legend.
What are the chances?
Jiang Taigong wasn't trying to catch just any fish.
Right.
He was waiting for someone who understood his methods.
Okay.
Someone who saw the potential in a seemingly unorthodox approach.
Interesting.
And that someone was Duke Wen.
Powerful story.
It is.
It makes me wonder if Duke Wen was actually seeking out someone who dared to be different.
Could be.
Someone who could offer a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
The document even quotes Duke Wen saying, "My ancestor, Taigong, foretold that a sage would come to Zhou to ensure its rise. Are you that sage? My ancestors have long awaited you."
Wow.
I know.
That quote is fascinating on a couple of levels.
It is.
First, it reveals the weight of expectation placed on Jiang Taigong from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about advising a ruler.
Right.
It was about fulfilling a prophecy, playing a destined role in the rise of a dynasty.
Yeah.
Talk about pressure.
No kidding.
But then there's that second part.
Yeah.
About his ancestors awaiting him.
Right.
It suggests a belief in destiny, perhaps even reincarnation.
Okay.
Where souls are reborn to fulfill specific roles.
Interesting.
It's a glimpse into the spiritual beliefs that shaped their worldview.
It is a glimpse.
Exactly. And it highlights the complex interplay of politics, spirituality, and individual ambition in ancient China.
Right.
We can't just view these events through a modern lens. We have to consider the cultural context,
of course,
that shape their actions and beliefs.
Okay, so back to the story.
Right.
Jiang Taigong joins forces with Duke Wen.
Yeah.
Becomes his chief advisor, and then helps his son, King Wu, overthrow the Shang dynasty in the epic Battle of Muye.
Huge.
And that's where we see his strategic genius on full display.
The Battle of Muye is considered a turning point in Chinese history.
It is.
Imagine the chaos.
Oh, yeah.
The clash of armies.
Right.
The fate of an entire dynasty hanging in the balance.
Wow.
And there's Jiang Taigong. Right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Directing troops, anticipating his enemy's moves.
Right.
Essentially orchestrating the downfall of the Shang.
The source even pulls a vivid description from the Book of Songs.
Right.
Comparing him to a soaring eagle.
I love that.
surveying the battlefield and swooping in for the decisive strike.
It's a powerful metaphor that captures his leadership, his strategic vision, and his ability to adapt to the ever-changing conditions of warfare.
Right.
He wasn't just reacting to events.
Right.
He was shaping them, guiding them towards his intended outcome.
And he wasn't simply a military mind, was he?
No, he wasn't.
He was instrumental in building the foundations of the Zhou dynasty.
Yes.
Setting up their government and ensuring their stability for generations to come.
He had a hand in shaping the very fabric of Chinese society. Think about that.
Yeah.
The decisions he made, the systems he put in place, echoed through the centuries.
Yeah.
Influencing the lives of millions.
Crazy.
It's a level of impact that's hard to fathom.
It is.
And his reward for all of this.
Yeah.
He's granted the fiefdom of Qi.
Right.
Essentially becoming a founding father of China.
Incredible trajectory.
It is.
From humble beginnings to master strategist to kingmaker to ruler of his own domain.
Exactly.
It's a testament to his multifaceted abilities and his relentless pursuit of his goals.
It is.
His story doesn't end there.
It doesn't.
In fact, it's just the beginning.
We'll dive into that more after a quick word from our sponsor.
We will.
Yeah.
All right. So we've established that Jiang Taigong was this brilliant strategist and statesman.
Yeah.
But the document throws in another layer. It calls him the master of 100 schools. What does that even mean?
Well, it means his influence extended far beyond the battlefield and the halls of power.
Okay.
His ideas resonated with various schools of thought in ancient China, including Taoism, Confucianism, legalism, and even the school of diplomacy.
Interesting.
Which, by the way, was all about using strategy and negotiation to achieve political goals without resorting to warfare.
So he was kind of like a thought leader.
Yeah.
Influencing the intellectual landscape of his time.
Precisely. And the fact that his ideas resonated with such diverse schools of thought speaks to the depth and breadth of his thinking. Yeah. He wasn't confined to a single ideology.
Right.
He saw the value in different perspectives and sought to synthesize them into a more holistic worldview.
That's pretty impressive.
It is.
Considering how often those different schools clashed with each other, makes me wonder what kind of personality he had.
Yeah.
To be able to navigate those competing ideas and find common ground.
Unfortunately, the historical record tends to focus on actions rather than personalities.
Right.
We know what he did, but we can only speculate about his motivations and inner life.
But maybe we can glean some insights from his actions.
Perhaps.
For instance, even after he was granted the fiefdom of Qi and had his own power base, he continued to serve the Zhou dynasty.
He did.
Helping King Cheng quell rebellions.
Yeah.
And solidify their rule.
That's an excellent point.
Right.
It suggests a deep sense of loyalty and duty, but also a strategic understanding of the bigger picture. He realized that a stable Zhou dynasty was in his best interest.
Yeah.
Even if it meant putting aside his own ambitions.
Interesting.
For a time.
It's almost like he saw himself as a guardian of the realm.
Could be.
Responsible for ensuring the well-being of the entire nation. Not just his own territory.
And perhaps that's part of why he became such a revered figure.
Makes sense.
He transcended personal gain and focused on the greater good, which is a quality that tends to resonate with people even centuries later.
All right, so we have this image of Jiang Taigong as this brilliant strategist, loyal statesman, and a unifying force in ancient China.
Right.
But let's not forget that intriguing story.
Oh, yeah.
Of him fishing with a straight hook.
Right.
His back to the river.
Yeah.
It seems like such an odd way to fish.
Remember, it's not just about fishing. Right. It's a metaphor.
Okay.
A story meant to convey a deeper meaning. In Chinese culture, that story has become an idiom.
Okay.
Jiang Taigong, fishing those willing, take the bait.
I see. So it's about patience.
Exactly.
About waiting for the right opportunity. And trusting that those who are meant to find you will.
Exactly. And it ties into his strategic thinking.
Okay.
He understood that sometimes the best course of action is to create the conditions for success.
Right.
To set the stage and then wait for the right moment to strike.
So he wasn't interested in chasing after opportunities.
No.
He wanted to create them.
He did.
I guess that's why they call him a master strategist.
Right. And that philosophy, that ability to play the long game, is arguably just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
I agree.
Think about business, politics, even personal relationships. Patience, timing, and strategic planning are crucial in all of these arenas.
It's interesting how a seemingly simple story about fishing can contain such profound wisdom.
That's the power of storytelling.
Right.
And why figures like Jiang Taigong continue to fascinate us.
They do.
They offer not just historical lessons, but insights into human nature and the timeless principles of success.
All right, so we've explored his military achievements, his political impact, his philosophical influence, and even his legendary fishing story.
Yeah.
But as with many historical figures,
of course,
there are still some lingering mysteries.
There are.
For instance, his birthplace.
Yeah.
Despite his prominence.
Right.
There's still debate about where exactly he was born.
There is.
The document mentions two main contenders.
Okay.
Rizal, which is supported by texts like Mencius and the records of the Grand Historian, and Jixian, which is based on other historical accounts.
Right.
Why is there so much uncertainty about something as seemingly basic as his birthplace?
Well, historical records weren't always as meticulous as they are today.
Okay.
Plus, there's often a tendency to mythologize historical figures, adding embellishments or even relocating their origins to enhance their legend.
So it becomes a mix of historical fact, local pride, and maybe even some wishful thinking.
Exactly, but even the debate itself tells us something.
Okay.
It speaks to the enduring fascination with this figure, the desire to claim him, to connect him to specific places and lineages.
It's like people want to be able to point to a spot on a map and say, here, this is where the legend began.
And that desire speaks to the power of origin stories.
Okay.
We're drawn to the starting point, the moment a hero emerges from obscurity. It gives us hope, a sense that greatness can come from anywhere, even the most unexpected places.
Speaking of origins, the source also mentions some discrepancies. Regarding his lifespan.
Okay.
Some accounts say he lived to be 103. Others claim 113.
Wow.
It's a pretty big difference.
It is, but regardless of the exact number, living over a century in that era was extraordinary.
It was.
It makes you wonder about the factors that might have contributed to his longevity. Genetics, lifestyle, access to resources, or maybe even a bit of luck.
I mean, think about the world he lived in.
I know, right?
Constant warfare, limited medical knowledge, harsh living conditions. To not only survive, but thrive for over a century.
I know.
Is a testament to something remarkable.
It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, human resilience and adaptability can be extraordinary.
So we had this incredibly complex individual who lived a long and impactful life.
We do.
Leaving behind a legacy shrouded in both history and myth. But what does it all mean for us, living in the 21st century? Why should we care about this guy who lived over 3,000 years ago?
That's the question that underpins all of our deep dives, isn't it?
It is.
We explore the past not just for the sake of knowledge, but to see what it can teach us about ourselves and the world we live in today.
So what can we learn from Jiang Taigong?
Well,
what aspects of his story resonate with us today?
I think there are several key takeaways here. First, his story reminds us that true leadership is about more than just power or position. It's about vision, strategy, and a deep understanding of human nature.
It's about being able to inspire others.
Yes.
To build consensus. And to work towards a common goal, even when facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles.
And let's not forget the importance of perseverance. Jiang Taigong didn't achieve greatness overnight.
He didn't.
He faced setbacks, worked seemingly menial jobs, and waited patiently for the right opportunity.
His story is a testament to the power of resilience.
It is.
And never giving up on your dreams, even when it seems like the odds are stacked against you.
Absolutely. And finally, I think his legacy reminds us of the importance of lifelong learning and the interconnectedness of knowledge. Jiang Taigong wasn't confined to a single discipline. He was a scholar, a strategist, a politician, a philosopher. He embraced a holistic view of knowledge, recognizing that different fields can inform and enrich each other.
That's a powerful message for us in today's world.
It is.
Which often encourages specialization. It's a reminder to be curious. To explore different perspectives. And to seek connections between seemingly disparate ideas.
Who knows? Maybe we all have our own inner Jiang Taigongs.
I like that.
Just waiting to be discovered.
Right.
The key is to cultivate that same spirit of curiosity, adaptability, and strategic thinking that he embodied.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yep.
His military genius, his political achievements, his philosophical influence,
Right.
even his legendary lifespan.
Yeah.
And that amazing fishing story.
Right.
But before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
let's explore one final thought.
All right.
If Jiang Taigong were alive today, what kind of leader would he be?
Ooh, that's a great question.
What challenges would he face in our modern world?
I mean, he was a master of navigating the political landscape
He was flat.
of ancient China.
Yeah.
But could those skills translate to today's globalized, interconnected world?
That's the debate, isn't it?
It is.
On the one hand, his strategic thinking,
Yeah.
his ability to build alliances, his long-term vision,
Right.
those are qualities that would serve any leader well,
They would.
regardless of the era.
He'd be amazing at international diplomacy,
Oh, he would.
forging trade deals,
Yeah.
maybe even mediating global conflicts.
Totally.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
he lived in a time when warfare was a much more accepted means of resolving disputes.
Yeah.
Would he adapt to today's emphasis on diplomacy and soft power?
Tough call.
It is.
He definitely wasn't afraid to use military force when necessary.
Right.
But he also understood the importance of winning hearts and minds.
He did.
Remember how we established a stable government in Qi and earned the respect of the people?
Good point. He wasn't just a conqueror.
Well-
He was a builder. A statesman who understood the importance of creating a just and prosperous society.
Exactly.
Perhaps those skills would be even more valuable in today's world.
Totally. Imagine him tackling issues like climate change,
Wow.
poverty, global inequality.
Yeah.
He wouldn't shy away from the big problems, that's for sure.
And with his strategic mind,
Yeah.
he'd probably come up with some innovative solutions
Oh, yeah.
that no one else had even considered.
He'd be all about sustainable development, renewable energy,
Right.
maybe even space exploration.
He was fascinated by astronomy after all.
He was.
I can just picture him giving a speech at the UN.
I know, right?
Outlining a bold plan for a more just and equitable world.
Yeah.
Drawing on his deep understanding of history, human nature, and the interconnectedness of all things.
And now that you mention it,
Yeah.
I'm starting to see some parallels
Okay.
between the challenges he faced in ancient China and the issues we grapple with today.
Right.
The scale might be different.
Yeah.
But the underlying principles of leadership, strategy, and diplomacy remain surprisingly relevant.
Exactly, and that's why it's so valuable to study figures like Jiang Taigong.
It is.
They offer us a lens through which to view our own world,
Right.
to see the connections between past and present, and perhaps to glean some wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of our time.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
we leave you with this final thought.
Right.
If Jiang Taigong were alive today,
Yeah.
what impact would he have on our world? What challenges would he embrace?
Right.
What solutions would he propose?
We encourage you to ponder these questions,
Yeah.
to explore the possibilities, and perhaps to find inspiration in the enduring legacy of this remarkable figure from ancient China.
Thanks for joining us on this journey through history
It's been a pleasure.
and into the fascinating world of Jiang Taigong.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy deep diving. It's fascinating to consider how Jiang Taigong might approach the challenges of our modern world.
It is.
He was a master strategist and diplomat, but the world has changed a lot since ancient China.
Oh, it has.
For instance, he lived in a time when warfare was a much more accepted way
Right.
to resolve conflicts.
Yeah.
Could he adapt to today's emphasis on diplomacy and international cooperation?
That's a key question.
It is.
He certainly wasn't afraid to use military force when he deemed it necessary,
Right.
but he also understood the importance of building alliances and winning hearts and minds.
Remember how he established a stable government in Qi,
I do.
focusing not just on conquest,
Right.
but on creating a just and prosperous society?
Exactly. He wasn't just a conqueror.
Right.
He was a builder.
Yeah.
A statesman who recognized that true power lies in earning the respect and loyalty of the people you govern.
So perhaps his approach to modern challenges would involve
Yeah.
a blend of strategic negotiation, economic incentives,
yeah.
and cultural exchange.
Rather than relying solely on military might.
It's certainly possible.
It is.
And his emphasis on long-term planning and understanding the interconnectedness of things would be crucial in tackling global issues like climate change, pandemics,
of course,
and economic instability.
He wouldn't just be looking for quick fixes.
No, he wouldn't.
He'd be thinking generations ahead, considering the ripple effects of every decision.
And that's a perspective we desperately need in today's world.
I agree.
Where short-term thinking often dominates the political landscape.
Absolutely. It's exciting to imagine what kind of innovative solution that he might come up with.
Oh, yeah.
Remember his interest in astronomy?
I do.
Maybe he'd be pushing for greater investment in space exploration.
Maybe.
Or renewable energy technologies.
He might even surprise us.
Oh, really?
By advocating for a more decentralized approach to global governance.
Interesting.
Leveraging his experience in establishing the semi-autonomous state of Qi.
He could be a champion for local empowerment while still fostering international cooperation on issues of shared concern.
It's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it?
It is.
Trying to imagine how a figure from ancient China would navigate the complexities of our modern world.
It really highlights the enduring relevance of his core principles.
It does.
Strategic thinking, adaptability, and a deep understanding of human nature.
And while we can't know for certain what impact he would have, the very act of considering these questions challenges us to think differently about our own leadership, our own approaches to problem solving, and our own vision for the future.
So as we conclude this deep dive into the life and legacy of Jiang Taigong, we invite you to continue pondering these questions.
Absolutely.
How might his wisdom and strategies be applied to the challenges we face today?
Right.
What can we learn from his successes and perhaps even his failures? We encourage you to explore these ideas, to share your own insights, and to see what connections you can draw between this ancient Chinese master strategist and our own complex, ever-changing world.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
Yes, thank you.
We hope it has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to think more deeply about the enduring power of leadership, strategy, and the human spirit.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy deep diving.
Happy deep diving.